All right. Hey, we're on Christian Family. We're on G, I believe, under Roman number 4, page 110 in your book, 112 in mine, unfortunately. Slight difference.
I thought we were on B on page 111.
That's what I was
Wait, help me. Did we finish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay! I thought we were still way back there. Good. Any way we can make... yeah, actually, we were on number 5. I do have a mark there. It just wasn't clear. This is all about God's purpose in marriage.
B.
So look at Roman number 5, preparing for marriage, under A, number 5.
Protection.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
So what is the world's value? What does the world value about marriage? Have you ever asked yourself, why do people even get married today? What do they value about marriage?
Taxes. It's good for taxes.
Sometimes it actually is good for taxes. Sometimes not. Depends on how, especially when you have to have a prenuptial agreement and all this stuff. So, what do they see in marriage? Usually it is, well, at least he's committed to me. At least she's committed to me, because that's the only reason why they see it. But there's much more. Marriage is supposed to be the basis for a very intimate companionship, for completeness. Two people are different on purpose. Can you imagine marrying somebody just like you? You would kill each other. You really would. You would hate to see all your flaws in someone else. So they actually complete you. They make up for things that you're missing. When a man doesn't have empathy, you usually marry somebody who's full of it and is lots of compassion. There's also the enjoyment. Marriage is supposed to be enjoyable. Now, I don't know, a lot of people, I know some don't misunderstand, but generally, to most people, when I was growing up, marriage was not being enjoyed. And that's wrong. That's not why it was designed, so that you just are punished for being together.
Probably a lot of that, though, had to do with, like, in Ireland, there was a lot of it was just almost either on a poor level, on a land level. Like, basically, it was just a practical kind of a solution. Yeah.
Even in the eastern part, you buy this, you have a certain land, you get a dowry, you get money from it, it's beneficial for the family.
It was
one person.
Yeah, going back to almost what you said about the taxes, like it was almost like, or you'd have arranged marriages as well. So there was a lot, or then you'd have, like, go way up in the ranks into political and royalty marrying for political reasons more so than.
So all of those may be reasons, but they're not the right reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you see the early movies, in the 1950s and 60s, you'd always have somebody saying, I know I'm supposed to marry so-and-so, but I'm in love with so-and-so. And they were exploring this thing of, why are you marrying? One of the other purposes of marriage is to produce children, which is not a bad deal. But number 5, protection. We'll start, go ahead, Emmanuel, number 5.
Protection. The purpose of a godly relationship is for the benefit of the people in the relationship. Adam needed Eve at times, but she quieted that need as she protected his weakness. Eve needed Adam at times, as he used to supply that need as she protected his weakness. Eve needed Adam at times, and he used to supply that need as he protected her weaknesses. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 24.
Now, when I say weaknesses, there are things in marriage that you find out about your, I hate the word partner, but your spouse, and they've got a weakness. All right, I'm gonna play modern marriage revelation here, and so you have a man, you have a husband, and you have a wife, okay? And whatever weakness he may have, okay, maybe he has a strong persona outside, but when he's by himself, he has depression, okay? The wife can use that knowledge as power over him and can manipulate him. That happens all the time. So you find this problem, and I'm just using the guy for being depressed. Sometimes it's the wife has the depression, the husband abuses it or whatever, and takes advantage of it and stuff like this. Whatever his weakness, okay? Whatever, if he has a past, let me be real strong, all right? Here's a problem with a lot of marriages. The husband has a past, and the wife feels maybe at some points threatened or like things aren't stable. So she'll bring up his past in order to put him in his place so that he doesn't have any threat over her. And that is wrong, okay? If somebody has a weakness, what are you supposed to do? Protect it. You're supposed to, all right, now, that doesn't mean you encourage it, but there is a protectiveness that a marriage allows so that you don't take advantage of it and abuse it. You actually build it up. If I break my arm like I did when I was 14 years old, if I break my arm, maybe I was 13, what do I do with it? I put it into a sling, I put it into a cast, and I protect it. Somebody's coming up at me, I turn and protect it from getting hit. Okay, so when there is something going on and your husband or your wife is going through a hard time, you stand and you protect. And that is very missing. Now, maybe at the beginning of a marriage, things were good. But after a while, things get very, very abusive. So look at our verses.
Husbands, love their wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing water by the word.
Hold. Why would he need to sanctify, cleanse, and wash his bride? This is Jesus. Why would he need to do that?
Because Brian isn't perfect.
Correct. She's flawed. Talk about us.
Yeah.
But same's true with a marriage. They do things,
Imperfect people.
okay? And they need to be protected. They need to be restored instead of, well, there you go again. You and your emotions. That's dangerous, okay? Keep going.
That he might present it to himself, a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loved his wife loved himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth, even as the Lord the church.
Good. Another one. Ecclesiastes. Bless you.
Two are better than one, because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone. When he falleth, he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two live together,
Lie together.
they lie together. Two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
Okay, so it's dealing with real life where, honestly, you may think, well, I can just be alone, I can just be single. Well, good, try it. But two are better than one. And one of you falls, the other one should kick him, right? We joke about that, but it happens. And should pick him up. Okay, so protection. And number 6 there, Gleb.
Yeah, presentation. The Christian marriage relationship is to present a living example of a loving relationship between Christ and believers. Ephesians 5:31 to 32. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband.
Okay, so what does a husband-wife relationship represent, symbolize? According to those verses.
It is a union.
It's not just a union, but it symbolizes.
I mean, it's like Christ and church.
Excellent. Christ and the church. So, So ought husbands to what? According to
Love
love their wife, and so also because
Love.
Christ loved the church, and so also should a wife. What does it say? See that the wife. It's a horrible word.
She reverenced her.
Reverence. So that interaction there between those two is a picture of Christ and the church. We should obviously worship Jesus Christ, reverence him, actually be in awe and let him lead. Now the wife doesn't need to worship her husband, but she ought to treat him like he's Jesus. And she ought to honor him. It used to be said when you had a wedding, to the wife, do you promise to honor, love, cherish, and obey? That thing's gone. I mean, now it's to the husband, do you promise to honor, love, and obey your wife? But that is why Christians are completely out of step with the rest of the world. We have a different pattern, and the pattern represents Christ and the church.
But the difference in the...
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
No, you can go.
Yeah,
Fine.
like going back to that, husband love your wife, wife reverence your husband. It's like, it's reverence, but whereas like it's a different connect back from the wife to the husband. Why isn't it?
Why didn't it say love?
So love your husband.
Yeah. Because a man doesn't need as much love as he needs respect. And a wife doesn't need as much respect, even though she should have it. They both have to have both of those things.
Yeah.
But the way, when it talks about love one another,
Yeah.
a husband loves his wife by not thinking of himself and thinking of her. That's love.
Yeah.
Love sacrifices for the other person.
You should bow down and trust.
Bill, you don't want to die here.
I'm already done.
I'm just kidding.
You're going to ruin it, okay?
I'm just giving her a hint.
Anyway,
And that's
the
probably-
love that a man has for his wife and shows it is different than the way that a woman shows love towards a man, okay? And the way that a woman shows love toward a man is respect. End of story. A man needs to be respected like he needs to breathe. A woman needs to know that she's safe and loved more than she needs to breathe. So you put those two together. If you just told love each other, it doesn't put it into action. The action of a man to show he loves is he says, what would you do? What will bless you? How do I serve you? And you do, and man does it not just out of respect, okay, but out of a greater thing is out of love. Like Christ saw us and he sacrificed himself. So when a man is willing to do that, he's loving his wife. When a woman is looking and going, he doesn't deserve respect, but I will let him lead and decide. And I will reverence him, which means give him ultimate respect. Why, have you ever gotten into an argument? And then the doorbell rings and you're at each other. Hi, how are you? Oh, it's wonderful to see you. All right, so we know how to show love and respect. We just choose not to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that has to be fixed. Now, yes, sir.
Love must be stronger because, it says, for God so loved, not so respected.
I would say the onus, it's a big deal, but the onus is on him to love more.
Yeah.
But what we've done is we've made a huge mistake in that all the emphasis now is on the man, and the woman just sits there and goes, well, he hasn't done this and he hasn't done that, and she'll find fault. And you can't do that if you have respect. So both parties have to look at the heart and go, am I respecting? Am I loving? And that makes for a good relationship. You'll always fail.
Yeah.
But if you're always aware of, am I respecting? Am I loving? Then you'll have a good relationship. What were you going to say,
I was
Gleb?
saying you can't really expect someone to respect you, like your spouse, your future spouse, if you don't love her as you're supposed to. Like,
Wrong. It does not say if.
okay,
Did you see? It does not say
yeah,
you love her if she's lovable or lovely. When we were ungodly, Christ loved us. So when your wife is just
Ugly.
devil incarnate,
Ugly.
and you have to love her. And you have to calm down, you have to work at the thing, and you got to love her. And when the man, see, this is where he's untrustworthy. He lost my respect. Well, the Bible doesn't put an if in there, okay? There's obviously extremes, all right? He steps out on the marriage. He commits adultery. We'll use the guy for a second. Or he, falls back into abuse or drug use or whatever. There are things, but the woman still has to say, I married the guy. and I have to work with him and I have to restore him. That's her job. She now has to move in. Unless we have to break this marriage, it ought to be the most extreme thing. If there's anything to do outside of divorce, do it and restore him. And that is respect. Not because he deserves it. That's where the modern marriages fail, because he doesn't deserve it. Well, he never did. You just married. Here's what's going to happen. Here's Joanna. Joanna meets Mr. Right. And he's a hunk. I mean, he's got muscles the size of a door. And he's so nice to you, all right? And at first, you marry an ideal. You know what an ideal is? It's your idea of what he is. Then you find out he is lazy. He doesn't clean up after himself. He leaves the dishes for me. And you'll find out he's not worthy of all your respect. And as a wife, you go, but I still do it. That is love. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's hard. That's the real battle, is I do it not because they deserve it. There are people who say, well, I'll honor my husband as long as he's honoring God. Well, you're going to be alone. Because not all husbands honor God. And so if you marry, this is what you're supposed to do. That's why I say to people, don't marry until you're ready to give it your all. All right? This is real, and it is hard. All right, so so how does God see marriage, Jeremiah?
One, as good. We some find it, a wife find it, think it's a good thing, and obtain in favor of the Lord. Proverbs 18:17. Proverbs 18:22. Whoso find it a wife, find it a good thing, and obtain in favor of the Lord.
So she's good. It's good to find a wife, not just a girlfriend. All right.
Marriage is not outdated or old-fashioned. It is the greatest relationship and is honored by God.
So God says it's a good thing. Where else did God say something was good when he made it?
The creation.
Yeah, all of creation. And then he said, hey, this is also good. Just as good as when he made the universe, he made marriage. Number 2, Bethany.
It's pure. In marriage, the bed is blank. Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
All right.
The bed is undefiled.
What does undefiled mean?
Not soiled. Not unholy.
Holy. Okay. So being married is holy. What are you going to say?
Not perverted.
Not perverted. I like that. The marriage bed is not perverted. It's not ruined. Okay? When it's used for anything else, okay, then it's perverted and then it's ruined. And a lot of kids are confused because they've had several men in their mother's bed growing up. Can you imagine what they face when they grow up like that? It's ruined to them. All right, keep going.
Being married is wonderful and a blessing and just what God designed it to be. It is not to be a place of fear or of wickedness, but of joy and blessing. Proverbs 5:18. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love.
That's in the Bible. I had a couple years ago when I was in Blarney, and I was preaching through Proverbs, and I got to these verses, and the wife went, oh, you spoke those words, and they left. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I mean, there's a time to not do it, not talk about it, but it was time to actually go through, and we were just going through the book of Proverbs. You can't go, don't look at that verse. People don't realize the Bible talks about sex, about marriage, about the bed, and in marriage, it is pure, it is right. And kids need to grow up knowing, I look forward to marriage, I look forward to a life of that instead of always sneaking and hiding and trying to find love and joy outside of marriage. You got another one.
Song of Solomon 7:7-12. This thy stature is like to a palm tree, and thy breasts to clusters of grapes. I said, I will go up to the palm tree, I will take hold of the boughs thereof. Now also thy breasts shall be as clusters of the vine, and the smell of thy nose like apples, and the roof of thy mouth like the best wine for my beloved, that goeth down sweetly, causing the lips of those that are asleep to speak. I am my beloved's, and his desire is toward me. Come, my beloved, let us go forth into the field, let us lodge in the villages. Let us get up early to the vineyards, let us see if the vine flourish, whether the tender grape appear, and the pomegranates bud forth. There will I give thee my loves.
All right, absolutely nothing wrong with any of that, because it's between a husband and wife. And my grandmother said to me one time, when I was newly saved, we were talking about the Bible. She said, why is a Song of Solomon in the Bible? I said, and I was not very smart, but I said, I think God wanted to make a complete book and deal with everything. And it is the best book ever. It actually deals with all of these subjects, and you come away going, I'm going to enjoy my marriage. So, go ahead. The last part. Yeah.
If it is not honorable, it is not a marriage.
That's right. So you keep the relationship honorable. You're not taking advantage of the person, and that's where abuse comes in. Keep it pure, but enjoy it, all right? Number 3, Joanna.
As enduring, the Lord, the God of Israel, said that he hated fun. Malachi 2:16. The Lord, the God of Israel, said that he hated putting away, for one covered violence with his garment, says the Lord of hosts. Therefore take heed to your spirit, that ye do not treacherously.
All right, do you know what the putting away means? It's not your toys.
Divorce?
It is talking about divorce. God hates that a man would marry somebody and then I'm going to use a more up-to-date phrase, you ready? Would then throw them away. So to actually get into a relationship and then throw it away, God says, I hate that. When you make a commitment for marriage, it's supposed to be, we say it, till death do you part. I think was there not another verse or something? No, there's not. Okay, so keep going there. Yeah, there will be another verse, sorry.
Only by seeing how God hates adultery and divorce can we see the seriousness of marriage. Matthew 19:36. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
All right. So nobody should interfere with your marriage, and you should never allow anybody to interfere with your marriage. And because God said, I put you together. You say, well, we were unsaved. Doesn't matter. Marriage was designed by God. It's like two magnets. You ever see what happens when you put two magnets together in the right direction? They go, poof, they go together. God designed it that way. And even if somebody's Hindu and they get married, poof, they have fulfilled a design by God. They are still married in the eyes of God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't have to have only believers who are married. No, if you marry an unbeliever wrongly, say you just, I love her, and you are married to her. You can't just say, well, she's never getting saved, I might as well walk away. You can't do that. So what God has put together, this is enduring. It is an enduring relationship. That's why you need to be very slow. It is probably one of the biggest choices, biggest decisions you'll ever make in your life.
I never thought of it that way. Believer is like a Muslim or a Hindu.
Doesn't matter.
So
Yeah. Number 4, Tom.
Number 4, as meeting each other's needs. We look first at 1 Corinthians 7:3-5. So, 1 Corinthians 7:3-5, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath no power of her own body, but the husband. The wife hath no power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power over his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency.
It's kind of like inconsistency, but it's actually a different word. It's incontinency. You ever heard of older people having incontinence?
Incontinent?
Yes.
You can't
control yourself.
control yourself, yeah.
And so when you step out of the marriage bed and you step out and you say, well, I'm just not sleeping with her, and you go on for weeks or weeks, you will do wrong things. Okay, you've gone down a path, and Satan will tempt you, not just for the inconsistency, but for the fact that there are things that you'll start thinking, you'll start doing. And so the marriage is supposed to be honoring each other. You don't have the power to just walk away. Your wife deserves benevolence. What does benevolent mean?
Kindness.
Excellent. Kindness, but it's more. It says, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. So yes, it's kindness, but I want to get more. Because the whole context says, make sure she's happy. You're not just being kind to her, all right? I can be kind to my wife by, just saying some nice things, but I'm not actually helping her. I'm not actually being a blessing to her. That's what she's due. I owe it to my wife to be kind to her. She owes it to me to be kind to me. And then he goes on into this. He says, you don't even have power over your own body anymore. If you want to stay up and watch TV and she says, no, it's time to come to bed, you have to say, yeah, I got to be with my wife. Okay? And you want to, you want to do things without considering your wife, you're not giving her the due respect that she deserves, her due benevolence. You just don't have power to do as you please anymore. Your life now is for her to influence. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make decisions and you can't say, I've got a job offer over here, we need to pray about this, we need to look at going over here or going there. That's important. But you just don't do it because you want to do it. She's an co-equal partner that you look to and ask for, what do you think? And defrauding is about cheating the other person of sex. And there's just no way around it. You don't ever use sex as a weapon. Nod your head. You don't ever in a marriage use that as a weapon. So you meet the needs of somebody else. You don't abuse those needs. Keep going there, Joanna.
So
sorry. Or you, Tom, sorry.
So, and we're in 1 Corinthians as well, chapter 7, and this time 32 to 34. So verses 32 to 34. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife.
All right, stop. What are things of the world that you should be worried about so that your wife is happy?
That you have a home, that you have food to eat, that you have an income, that
Those are all worldly things, aren't they?
yeah.
That you have warmth,
Yeah.
you have clean water.
Yes,
All right.
security, yeah.
So those are things of the world. But you're supposed to worry about the economy, worry about your job. You're supposed to be worried about things so that she's taken care of, so that that's his job, okay?
So it's your responsibility.
Yes, and you're worried. You care about the things of this world.
Yeah.
All right, not that you're panicking, but that these are things that are on your mind. Keep going.
Okay. The one person.
34, sorry. Did you read? Was that all?
I did, yeah.
Huh? You didn't do 34?
Oh, no, sorry, beg your pardon. There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cared for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she that is married cared for the things of the world, how she may please her husband.
Okay, so.
That's the opposite of what we were talking about, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's a great revelation. When you're unmarried, holy means you're living right and clean and in the hands of God, just doing his will. But when a wife is supplying the needs of her husband, she is holy. When a husband is supplying the needs of his wife, he is holy. If you are not doing that, you are ungodly. Does that make sense? That is what Paul's saying. And most people never read this way. They'll always use it for the other person. It's just going, you know what? I want to be right with God and I want to be holy. And I can't go back to being single. So I'm going to have to serve. And that's how you become holy. Serving your mate, your spouse. And that's rarely ever heard. All right. Next one.
Right. No.
Oh, now you got the last part.
No. The one person who is best able to meet your needs is the one who knows you the best. The purpose of marriage is not to obtain, but to supply. Knowing your needs will be provided for in the process.
Yeah, it's always more blessed to give than to receive. Not that you're the only giver. All right, number 5, Geraldine.
As built upon friendship and communication, not on requirements and expectations. The marriage relationship starts with friendship and is built upon trust. If a person's mate is not their best friend, then the foundation of the marriage is flawed and can collapse. So that would be Song of Solomon from this. Solomon 5:16, his mouth is most sweet, yea, he is altogether lovely. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem.
Okay, you were talking earlier about arranged marriages and marriages of can we say convenience? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All the different kinds of marriages there. Do you think that either one of them ever come to the conclusion, this is my friend?
If they're very lucky, they might arrive at
They might arrive at
Yeah,
that, yes.
yeah.
But what a shame if the relationship is built only on, well, this is who I had to marry. Okay, that would be a terrible thing. So God sees marriage as something where the two of you are so close, you should be the best of friends. And so if you're not the best of friends, work on it, because in Song of Solomon, that is a demonstration of this is my beloved and this is my friend. That is way cool. Okay, number 6, Bill.
God sees marriage as a covenant, a binding commitment that makes their relationship a priority, human relationship in life. Genesis 2:24.
Where's that? Where's Genesis?
Yeah, you're going to have to figure that out, Don. I'm not helping you.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Now, the wife has already left her family. Many times, a man only expects the wife to lose and to give up because she takes his name. She goes where he goes. But the man doesn't realize, I need to leave some things too, and I got to make my own life. This is the priority relationship. Keep going.
Marriage is not an experiment, it is a total commitment and a total sharing of the total person with another until death. The most wonderful of relationships both confines and yet fulfills the human heart.
And it does. So, okay, courtship or dating. Go ahead, read Psalm 34:3. Emmanuel.
Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together.
Now, that is a strange verse until you understand why I pointed out that the purpose of any relationship, whether it's friendship or a relationship that's moving towards marriage, is you ask, do you want to magnify the Lord with me? It's not, I want to be with you. Okay, that's more modern human love. But hey, let's worship God. That's the beginning of a relationship, and that's what courtship begins. Now, I don't have a complete. I don't want to ruin your ideas that you can't just have fun. Things that we call dates are usually just get-togethers or whatever. But in a relationship, you want to be old enough to actually allow yourself to become serious, because you will get serious. If you start spending a lot of time with another young lady, guess what? You're going to start getting serious. So you got to be careful and hold back until you're ready. What if you were 19 again, 18, 17? I remember when you were a little kid and you said, Jane is so beautiful. I just want to spend my life with her. We'd slap you and say, stop it, you're not ready. Okay. But we say, oh, he's 24. Maybe he's ready. Maybe you are. But in your mind, you need to realize, am I just dating or am I ready? Courtship is getting ready. It's not that everything has to be choreographed and controlled, but be very slow. That's what I'm trying to teach you.
Intention over language.
Yeah, and just give yourself time. Don't rush into it, because the heart will jump. Okay? All right. Go ahead and do number 1.
Most people try so very hard to find the love of their life by using the feel-good methods of dating, drinking, and discos.
That's how they do it. Number 2.
God has a much better method that has worked from the very first day. It is called courtship.
Go ahead and do 3.
What is courtship? Courtship is a relationship between a man and a woman in which they seek to determine if it's God's will for them to marry each other under protection and guidance and blessings of their parents or mentors. The couple concentrates on developing a deep friendship that could lead to a marriage, and they discern their readiness for marriage and God's timing for their marriage. See Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 7. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil.
What is it about verse 7 that is so appropriate for today is that people think they know what to do. And don't be wise in your own eyes. Don't think you know. Ask some advice. Okay, number B and C, Clem.
Worship is a choice to avoid temptation and experience the blessings of purity. It is a choice to not emotionally give away your heart piece by piece to many others through casual dating relationships, and instead to ultimately give your whole heart to your life partner. Worship is a choice to wait for God's best for your life. It is a decision to trust in God, honor others above yourself, and believe God will do good to you, all because He is love. Psalms 9.
I just have a question, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Since about the topic of sex and such, I've heard of soul ties, people refer to soul ties. Would that be somewhat biblical?
Soul
When
ties.
someone sleeps with someone outside of marriage and they're going to give a bit of themselves to someone.
Yeah, it's called emotional adultery or emotional. Okay. I'm not sure what you're asking. Say it again.
It's more so a secular thing, but People say when they sleep with other people outside of marriage, they give a bit of themselves. Or just,
Yes, yes, that's exactly right.
So yeah.
And so I'm not sure soul ties, but
Yeah.
you are breaking the image of God in you. The image of God was for you to love someone, and you can't love the whole world, right? So you're made to be able to manage a relationship, not a continual process of relationships, because each time it breaks you, it does not build you. But a relationship between you and one person for life builds you. So soul ties, yeah. I thought you were going in a different direction. There are people who emotionally become bound. And for example, divorce is very bad, because here's a woman who is married to somebody and she thinks he's safe, and he steps out on her and commits adultery, and they divorce. And then she tries to pick up and get married to someone else. What is she like on the inside? She's destroyed, because she's trying to redevelop that wholeness she had, or what she thought she had with the previous relationship. And he's gone on with his life, but she's broken. And that happens. And so
if someone's spouse died and they remarried, then
you have to give it time. However, death is a proper closing of the book. Okay? And in your life, God turns the page and says, let's move on. Okay. But if your husband's still alive, you're always hurting. Okay?
Yeah.
And that is cruel. So it's abused today so desperately. Okay?
Psalm 9:10. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee.
Okay, so you got to make that as your life verse. Look what it says. If you know God's name and put their trust in God, you'll know that he'll never forsake you. He'll never let you down. Now, he may say, I don't want you married, which would be really killer. He has that authority to say, don't get married. But you know he won't steer you wrong. You're trusting in him. Keep trusting him. And that's, you just realize he loves me. So he's not going to actually ask me to do something to torment me. Okay?
Yeah.
Next one.
Romans 12:10. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, and honor preferring one another.
So just the goal of a person who's looking for a mate is you're focusing and you're worshiping God. You're trusting God, not your feelings. And the third verse here, when it says, let me quote it again. We're looking, where are we? 12:10. I'm in the wrong spot. Kindly affection one to another, brotherly love, not sexual love.
Yeah.
Treat them like family. Just that young lady is to be treated like her. She's your sister, not like your lover. Okay? You wait till marriage to treat her like a lover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Treat her with brotherly love, family love. And you got one more verse.
Yeah, for John 4:8. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love.
So if you don't know how to love, get to know God more. That's the point, you say. And that's why you wait, because the depth of the ability of someone to love someone else is connected with understanding the depth of the love of God for us. We love him because he first loved us. So that's why growing up, you have a messed up home, messed up family, parents not getting along, whatever. When you get saved, you ought to give yourself plenty of time to learn what it means to love.
Yeah.
Don't just jump in. Well, my heart says don't do that. Okay? That's the point.
I have a question. You know, for me it seems really complex how we're supposed to love God first and our wife is on the second place. And it's just, you know, and in the Bible it does say that, you know, God is always our priority and we should not have any idols before him. And even, I'd say even our wife can become an idol.
Yes.
So, but how do you find that kind of like line where we're just loving her enough? So it's not an idol, but it's not like you're not loving her too little. Like, you know, it just
Ooh.
seems,
Well, she'll let you know when you're not loving her enough.
But how do you know when you love her too much?
Okay. So,
There's a more thing to love God so much. The love for your wife will also be a thing.
unfortunately, some people Muslims claim to love God a lot, and they love their wife like nothing. So, kind of complicated how to answer shortly.
Because I know that, you can say that I love God so much, then all that love is also going to pour into my wife.
It does.
And it will happen. I understand that, but it's just...
But you can trust the Holy Spirit to lead you. And that's where you can't make a mathematical formula. I love to do that. But you can't. You have to look to the Holy Spirit step by step.
And also, sorry, I'm
Nope.
going to say is that, it's not just you putting God's love as the priority. She should be in the same mindset as well. So together, you're together with God as your priority. And from that, then you trust in that love of God, and the power of the Holy Spirit to kind of almost cocoon you really together. That that through everything, that because even in marriage, there are times when you could have the same conversation on a Monday, and by Friday you're fighting over it, whereas on Monday it wasn't even a problem. Whereas so there's inconsistency anyway in human relationship. But if you're both with the same focus, that your eye is always upon the Lord, then it the elevation of somebody to idol or to think, but because your mind is anchored on the Lord, it helps you understand, words like idol, like loving somebody too much, almost to the point of that, have they overtaken God in your life, But if they're of the same mindset, you're actually enjoy together serving the Lord. It's the biggest common bond in your marriage, and then there's the life stuff, the house, maybe the kids, whatever.
No, you're exactly right. The problem is rarely are both on the same spiritual level. So what do you do when the other person is carnal, hard to love, or so much easy to love that you forget about God? You will always, you will always battle that balance. And like she said, the Holy Spirit will guide you, but rarely do we hear the Holy Spirit. Rarely do we seek the Holy Spirit. And that's how come you're going to have to come to a realization, I have to work on this for the rest of my life. You'll never have it perfect. You'll never go, I love her enough and I love God completely. You'll never get there. So there will always be failure. And the Bible says, and I was looking for it, I can't remember, charity covereth a multitude of sins. Why would it even say that? Because she's going to let you down. She's not going to love you like you should. She's going to make other things an idol over her. Like you're going to make, and God still loves us anyway. God still loves us and says, let's pick up and let's do more. So you're worried about something like, will I ever make my wife my idol? You will when she's the boss. Let me just put it real plain. When she has control of your life, you've made her an idol, which is what all idolatry was. They worshipped things made with hands and let that idol determine their life. And if your wife does that, then she has become an idol. That's how you'll know. If she's sick at home, you is not an idol to actually say, listen, I'm going to take off work. I'm going to make sure the kids are taken care of. I'm going to go pick up the kids. That's not an idol. Yeah. But if she governs your life so that you can't serve God, then she's become an idol. Yeah. All right? So you'll find that line. But rarely, I think most guys think it's going to be pure heaven being married. Let me tell you, no. There's always going to be the constant battle of, am I listening to her? Am I listening to God? And if you're listening to God, he'll tell you, now listen to your wife. Find out where she's at. Minister to her. But you still say, Lord, but I'm following you and I'm doing your will. And it's a big thing. So this is not the Garden of Eden where we're all happy-go-lucky, everything's fine. No. We're battling with two sinful natures. All right. I think we have to stop here. I hate doing it. Did we have... Yeah, okay. So number 4 and 5, I'll get Jeremiah to do 4 and 5 and we'll be done.
Understanding and applying the following guidelines will result not only in a marriage marriage pleasing to God, but also one that will be the most rewarding for herself. It provides the foundation for winning the world for Christ. For the concepts presented here are helpful guidelines to consider, but the list is not exhaustive. Each person, along with their parents or other mentors, must seek God's direction for the specific steps of their courtship.
If you were in charge of say your dad just gave you 4,000 euros and says, go buy you a car, would you know how to buy a car? Find the right car, one that's going to work, not going to fall apart. Would you really know how to do it? By yourself. You can't ask anybody's help.
No.
Okay, that's an honest answer. Usually guys don't answer that. They, of course I do. I know what kind of car I want, muscle car, whatever. And we think the same thing with our girlfriends and with our wives. We think, I can find it. Get advice. Ask your parents. Ask your pastor. He's here to be asked. I cannot tell you what to do, but I can give you guidance. Okay, ask a godly friend who's walking with God. Ask him, am I ready for a relationship? Is this person a match for me? That's where courtship is different than dating. Dating is, I'm just going to go buy a car, or I'm just going to find a girl, and you're going to hurt for it. Okay? So does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to stop there.